All right, so I want to go over everything that I've learned about the Brother GTX ink, and it's a lot of things that are potentially going to save you a lot of money. So the first thing is the ink, the actual genuine ink. A lot of people say that you have to use the Brother genuine ink. Others say, you know, you can use aftermarket ink. So what I've been doing is kind of switching between aftermarket and genuine. If you can see down here, I have this GPI ink from Garment Printer Ink, and you can see that there's like this blue hue on it. It's crazy. Look at these three inks right here. All right, so take this with a grain of salt. While you can use aftermarket inks, be careful on the ink you use. Now, Garment Printer Ink has been pretty good about replacing these. When I got these two in, I messaged them. They had me send them a picture of the ink to show them what I was talking about, because definitely this is not going in my printer. This one right here is starting to turn. This one's fine. This is a replacement. They sent me two replacements for these. The first one is already in my printer. It's already been used. So what we're gonna do now is replace. This is an OEM ink right here. Hold this. This is an OEM ink. The chip right here, this chip doesn't last forever. You can't reuse it. It's only gonna have a certain amount of prints on it. So we're gonna take our GPI ink. Now I've also used Image Armor ink, white, and that ink, that white ink, it's comparable to the genuine ink, but it's kind of hard to get because it's always out of stock for some reason. So we're gonna open this bag, kind of shake it up a little bit, get this going. Usually you want to wear some gloves while you're doing this, but this is just how I'm doing it now. All right, so we're gonna take our ink, place our ink in here, come through like this. Now we're gonna want to take this chip off. So when you first take the chip off the first time, it's gonna have two clips in here. So you're gonna want to go in with a little screwdriver, flathead, and more than likely one of the little clips is gonna break, just like this one right here. I have this one broken clip, so kind of easier to take off. And then we're gonna unscrew this right here. So as I was saying, these chips don't last forever. They maybe last for me, they last about a month. You can see all these chips right here. All these are used chips that go bad. Your printer out of nowhere is gonna say, the printer doesn't recognize the W12, white 12, white 34, whatever it is, right? It's gonna tell you, we don't recognize that. And you're not gonna be able to do anything. You're shut down production until you put a brand new genuine ink, which has a chip, or you buy aftermarket chips. Now there really is no aftermarket chip. You're gonna have to buy used chips. What I've done is I'll go online and I'll look for people selling them. So right now I have, so you're always gonna wanna have extra chips. Right now I have 2 extra white chips just in case the chip goes out. I might have a full bag of ink, but the chip goes out and I'm done for the day. So that has happened to me before. So we have to shut down, and it's like the afternoon, early afternoon, and we're done. Yeah, so now I make sure and have extra chips. So you're always gonna wanna make sure that if you're not using OEM ink, have your extra chips, because even though the extra chips are about $20 to $30 per chip, you're still saving about $100 per ink bag, because the Brother sells these genuine ink bags in a set of 2, and it's right now we're just under $500 for the set, right? And you can get one of these bags when they're on sale for about 100 to 120 bucks. So you saw kind of how easy that was. At first I was like, when I got the machine, I said, you know what, I'm only gonna put OEM ink in the machine. I don't want to mess with doing all this. I just want to go in and out quick. But when I kind of started messing with it and just figured out kind of how easy it is to do, as you saw me do this here in just a few minutes time, I mean, we're good to go. Sometimes I'll glue this if this little cap is popping up a little bit, but I mean, that seems fine. So we're gonna go back over here. Boom, full. Okay, so these levels right here are never correct. I never go by these levels right here. I always check the ink bag. So like this ink bag is almost full, and it says that it's halfway. Right, it's gonna pop up right here. It's halfway. So I never go by that. I always check the ink bags. Everything else is pretty much full for the most part. But like I said, just because I have white 12 that's full, out of nowhere, it's gonna tell me the printer doesn't recognize this cartridge, because I've used this cartridge over and over and over on aftermarket inks. So that's one thing you're gonna want to consider when using aftermarket inks, that you're always gonna want to have a chip. The second thing is your maintenance of the inks. So this is going to go through a lot of maintenance. If you don't use it a lot, if you're using it for maybe 5-10 shirts per day, it's not going to be cost effective, because you are going to run through a lot of white ink. I just replaced this brand new ink, and it's going to kind of go through maybe 10% of the ink per day, just to kind of keep the lines clean. So that's going to be another thing you want to consider. The third thing is not to waste your ink. I have a little bit of this OEM ink left, little bottle of ink. I'm gonna open that. So you're gonna have this little cap right here, comes right off, right? And after the cap, you have this little bladder right here. I believe it's called a bladder. I'll call it a bladder anyway. I'll put that off to the side. Okay, so we're gonna put our funnel on top right here. And just like that, all this ink is gonna be able to come out. But there's a little stopper in here. So what I use is this little syringe. You press it in, and all your ink is gonna come out. So that's really gonna be the same method, the same way that you're gonna actually fill these bags. Now you can't really use these bags over and over 20-30 times. You might be able to refill it maybe 4 or 5 times at best. And the reason you don't want to keep refilling it is because once it starts coiling up, well, all this ink over here, it's drying up. So you're gonna have little pieces of dry ink. When you fill this back up and it uncoils, you're gonna have all these dry particles in here, and it's gonna end up clogging up your machine. So you don't want to keep refilling it too many times, especially if you're towards the end of your little pouch here. You don't want to refill it. Just put a brand new one in and do what I'm doing here. Save this, save the old ink. We don't need this anymore. We don't have a chip. We don't have anything on here that's of value to us, so we're gonna end up throwing that away. And just right here, there's $70 worth of ink just in this little container here.